Hi, this is Andy Caldwell. The war against police misconduct by relatively few bad apples has become a war on police departments in general across the country. Specifically, while trying to defend our communities against riot and looting, 11 cops have been murdered and more than 500 have suffered injuries, some of which are life-threatening. Furthermore, in the midst of this carnage, radical activists are now demanding, and reckless politicians are conceding, to defund, dismantle, and disarm our police departments. If they succeed, who then will protect us? Snoop Dogg has suggested we trust the Crips to patrol inner cities, but it makes me wonder what the Bloods would have to say about that. An activist blogger believes that video bloggers can replace criminal investigators. And finally, Black Lives Matter has decided to form an armed militia to patrol neighborhoods. Specifically, Hawk Newsome, a nationally recognized leader of BLM, asserts his organization and others like it are justified in using destruction to further their goals, including by way of bullets and blood. I, for one, am very concerned to know how cities who have dismantled their police force will deal with gang violence in our inner cities, or do they assume the violence will disappear once the cops are gone, since they're blaming virtually everything on cops and racism? And what about the million-plus annual incidences involving rape, robbery, sex trafficking, domestic violence, drunk driving, and other violent crimes? Believe it or not, the plan is to replace cops with social workers and counselors. Nonetheless, Los Angeles recently suffered 989 gang-related shootings in just 1 year. Chicago broke a record, its bloodiest day in 60 years. 18 people were murdered within 24 hours. Closer to home, District Attorney from Santa Barbara, Joyce Dudley, is in the middle of prosecuting the largest gang trial in California's history based upon a murderous crime spree by members of MS-13. It was called Operation Matador. It was operating in Santa Maria. These international thugs are suspected of 10 homicides, 14 attempted murders, and many other violent crimes that occurred in Santa Maria over a 3-year period. The defendants were facing 50 felony counts of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and criminal street gang activity. Do you believe these gang members, or the 40,000 gang members in Los Angeles County, are likely candidates to diversion from criminal activity by way of counseling? Then we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's leading the Democrats in Congress to eliminate prisons, ostensibly because prisons are a function of institutionalized racism. She also advocates for open borders and eliminating the Border Patrol, which would be a delight to the members of MS-13, not to mention Mexico's drug cartels and Islamic terrorists. By the way, did you know that Salud Carbajal votes with AOC 95% of the time? This war against our criminal justice system is nothing new. For years, we have been countenancing demands that include abolishing prisons, eliminating bail, paying people to not commit crimes, banning police from college and high school campuses. And we've been forcing cops to stand down during riots and looting, lest they be threatened with prosecution. None of these things are going to help anyone, least of all the residents of crime-ridden cities in America. Unfortunately, the city of Goleta and Santa Barbara couldn't wait to get on this bandwagon. They took a slightly more subtle approach by passing a resolution declaring racism as a public health emergency. What does that really mean? They want their police departments to prioritize mental health services and rehabilitation before arresting and incarcerating black suspects. Moreover, they want to attempt to reduce jail admission by redirecting people to community-based mental health and substance abuse treatment centers. In other words, they want to send a counselor to the scene of a crime. How dangerous and irresponsible is all this? Consider the fact that college and high school campuses across the land are now canceling their contracts with local police departments. Has the threat of school violence been solved by these protests? Have we already forgot Columbine and Sandy Hook? Furthermore, the University of Minnesota, for instance, has announced it will no longer use their local police department or their canine explosive detection unit to help manage security at large events, including football games. Has the threat of domestic or international terrorism disappeared? Have we already forgotten the Boston Marathon massacre? Having said all that, there is certainly something seriously wrong in America's inner cities. Inner cities have the highest murder rates and the highest unemployment rates. They have the worst schools, including the highest dropout rates. Inner city schools are abjectly failing Black children every day. And yes, there is a school-to-prison pipeline that needs to be broken. But the answer to this problem won't be achieved by way of defunding police departments, leaving the residents of these communities without the protection they need and deserve. The most dire circumstances in these inner cities is absent fathers. Why haven't we declared that a public health emergency? I pledge myself to continue working for school and criminal justice reforms and to address the underlying causes of poverty and misery in our inner cities, something I've been doing for decades, but not at the expense of public safety and common sense. That is, I am completely opposed to defunding, dismantling, and disarming our police departments, because that's not going to benefit anyone except criminals. Meanwhile, where is Salute Carvajal? This is Andy Caldwell. I'm running for Congress. I paid for and authorized this message. Please visit my campaign website, andycaldwell2020.com. Thank you.